you good to see? All right, we're 2 minutes behind schedule, so we'll call this meeting, the Cecil Township Zoning and Hearing Board meeting to order. This is our August 18th meeting. First and foremost, I guess we can do introductions here. My name's Kara Sheridan. I'm chairperson. To my right, we have Alan Barney. Go ahead, Joe. You can continue.
Oh, Joe Flaherty.
Ted Donald.
Okay, so Joe and Ted are our alternates. The first order of business we'll need to do is appoint Joe as a regular standing member because Troy Gump is not here tonight. So can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The first item that we'll do is approval of minutes from the June 16th meeting. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We have 3 items on the agenda for tonight. First, we're going to hear the Hines variance, followed by the Fuchs appeal and the Helios variance. That'll be our order for this evening. But to get started, what we're going to want to do is have everyone or anyone who thinks they may speak at this public hearing to stand up to be sworn in by our stenographer, Kathy Landock. If you could please stand if you intend to say anything. Even if you think maybe there's a little tiny chance you're going to say something, stand up, just in case. All right, and also to the left we have Christopher Voltz, and we have our zoning director, Liz Ross. So that'll round out our introductions for today. I want to make a quick comment regarding when we take public comments. So what we're going to do first is we're going to hear each of these cases be presented to us by the applicant and when they have want to speak to their application. After that, and only after that, both sides have presented their case, will we take public comment from those in the audience. We are going to keep public comment to only Cecil Township residents, and we will only allow for a 3-minute period of time, and we really would request that you stay on point. And as we go through the different issues, we will tell you kind of what the context of the conversation is we're looking for input on from the public. All right, so if we'll get started, if we could have application 2025-0006, Stephen Hines. If you could come up and kind of just give us a little presentation to your application. We put you first because we think it might be a little shorter than the other two. So just in case anyone's wondering on the order. Okay.
Can you hear?
And please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Leanne Hines, and we live at 75 Creedmoor Road in Cecil. And we're requesting a variance on a fence that's in our front yard for our German Shepherd. The ordinance says that you have to have 3 foot only. And we made the mistake of not understanding that, or I did. So that's why there's already a picture there. We're 300 feet away from all of our neighbors. Nobody objects in the neighborhood. If we put a 3-foot fence in front of the house, the dog probably would step over it. It's a German Shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
So for the safety of the dog and our neighbors and anybody walking by, we're requesting a variance to 5 foot.
Okay. I have a question. So in the picture that we see depicted here, is that exactly the state that you intended to be? Will it continue to look just like that? Or are there
They
changes?
posted the sign, they took that picture, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a see-through,
Yep.
you know,
it's a nice
you still
fence.
have line of vision. It's like
Yeah.
split rail kind
And it
of
has
situation.
little lights on the top, on the posts.
Okay. Anyone on the board have any additional questions?
Nope.
Okay, then, I would like to, let's see here, sorry, I'm out of order a little bit in my notes. I would like to move that we grant the request for a 2-foot height variance to permit the construction of the proposed fence or the existing fence, as explained in the application and at the hearing. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, passes 3-0. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the second item on the agenda for tonight. Application 2025-005, D. Fuchs Enterprises, LP. This is an appeal to a cease and desist order that was sent by our zoning director, Liz Ross. So first, we'd like to see if those involved will start off with Mr. Fuchs's representation, and then, let the township go first. Sorry, go ahead. On behalf of the township, you can present your case first, and then we'll have Mr. Fuchs present his case. If you could kind of state your name and position for the record.
Sure. So how would you prefer me, I guess, first present? Do you want me to sit down and talk into this microphone or go over here to this microphone? Do you have any sort of preference?
Whatever works for you and you're more comfortable with. I mean, just for the stenographer's sake, just make sure you have a microphone so everybody can hear.
All right. Well, I'll stay over here then, I suppose. So first, I'd just like to introduce myself. My name's Alexis Wheeler. I represent the township in this matter. I work with your normal solicitor, Gretchen Moore, who wasn't able to be here this evening. Just as sort of a threshold matter, I would like to respectfully request that Mr. Barney recuse himself from this proceeding. Mr. Barney's wife is a township supervisor, and just yesterday she published a social media post expressing her views on this case pending before this board. Mr. Barney's recusal, I feel, is a essential circumstance for us to ensure a fair and impartial zoning hearing. And the township has reason to believe that he cannot be, I guess, impartial during this hearing due to our valid concerns of bias and conflict of interest. And I have a copy of the social media post if this board is inclined to.
So Mr. Barney can respond. I think it would be appropriate to place the social media post at issue and at least let him review it,
Would you like a copy?
please.
Yes, because I don't know what it concerns. I've never seen this, but to avoid any problems down the road, I'll recuse myself.
Thank you, sir. So moving on, this matter.
Hold on
Hold
1 second, please.
Let's pause. Given Mr. Barney's recusal, we do have another alternate here. And with your permission, we'll pause and maybe do a motion to appoint Mr. Donald as an alternate for this issue only.
Yes.
Excuse me, if I may, just seeing this for the first time, I'm sorry, may it please the board, Attorney Josh Larkin on behalf of Mr. Donald Fuchs. Just for clarification, especially because we have a court reporter here tonight, did you say this was made by Mr. Barney's wife?
Correct. Darlene Barney runs the Cecil Township Watchdogs Facebook group. And she's the township supervisor.
Regardless,
I just wanted
okay.
to clarify.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Ted Donald as a sitting member of the zoning board for the Fuchs appeal issue only.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes 2-0.
Thank orient ourselves, this matter arises from the operation of a motocross track at the property owned by D. Fuchs Enterprises LP. The property is known as 5 Weavertown Lane, Canonsburg, Pennsylvania, 15317, and it's located in the C1 Commercial Zoning District, General Commercial Zoning District of Cecil Township. I would like to preface the township's presentation by saying the township would like to work with this property owner. We've had conversations with the property owner's attorney. I don't think anything that we're going to say this evening is going to be a surprise to them. We just don't believe the use of the property as a motocross track is a permitted by right use in the C1 zoning district. An alternative argument that the township is going to present this evening is that the use could potentially be allowed on the property as a special exception in the C1 zoning district, which is a different process. It requires the applicants to submit an application to this board for a special exception, and that just hasn't yet occurred. So as a result, on May 27th, 2025, the township issued to the property owner a notice of violation and cease and desist order regarding the motocross track operation on the property. The notice was served upon the property for a violation of Section 907 of the Township's Unified Development Ordinance, sometimes called the UDO, otherwise known as the Township Zoning Ordinance. For the sake of clarity, I might refer to Section 907 as Section 240-28, and just so this board understands, and I think you're aware, the township has its ordinances codified online via the E-Code website, and those citations are different from the print versions of the UDO. So just to avoid any confusion, if I say Section 907, it's the same thing as Section 240-28. Both of those provisions, which are the same, set forth the uses that are allowed in the C1 zoning district. A motocross track is not among those uses allowed in the C1, hence the cease and desist and notice of violation. I have a copy of Section 240-28 that I'd like to provide to this board, and as well to the applicant. I guess as another housekeeping matter, I have some items that I would like to enter on the record, which seem primarily administrative. So I don't know if now would be the appropriate time to do that, but they include the zoning ordinance. I would like exhibit number 1 to be the notice of violation, township exhibit 2 to be the appeal of the appellant, the zoning ordinance, and I believe those are the only 3 that I really have. I have some case law that I'd like to provide at the end of this. Oh, sorry.
For convenience, is there any objection to her passing out those 3 exhibits at this time? Or admit them, do you have any objection to them being admitted?
No.
Okay.
Talking about the zoning ordinances, I think those, and the violation and our appeal, I think that would be fine.
Okay, great. I assume you'll be providing a copy to opposing counsel so you can review. All right.
So what I have here and what I'm going to be handing out to this board and to the appellant is the application that contains the appeal, which also has a copy of the notice of violation attached. I did not print out a separate notice of violation for the sake of not printing out extra pieces. So I just want to...
Yeah, we have a copy of that already anyways. The board does.
Okay, great. And then the second item that I'm handing out is just Section 240-28, which is the list of uses allowed in the C1 commercial district.
It's in there too. It's in that book too. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
All right, nobody's really ever told me before that I spoke too softly, but I will make sure that I speak into the microphone. So, proceeding with my sort of opening statement here and just sort of setting the scene for what this matter concerns. As you will see, Section 907 240-28 sets forth the uses that are allowed, permitted by right, permitted by special exception, permitted by conditional use in the C1 General Commercial Zoning District. You will notice that a motocross track is not listed among any of those categories of uses. D. Fuchs Enterprises LP appealed the township's May 27th, 2025 notice of violation and cease and desist order to this board, which was dated June 26, 2025. The appeal appears to argue that the motocross track is allowed, permitted by right, as outdoor recreation, which if this board reviews the uses permitted by right, it will see that outdoor recreation is a use permitted by right in the C1 district. Of course, the township argues that it is not considered outdoor recreation. The township would offer instead that outdoor recreation is less high impact. It's low impact. It's things like a golf course, a tennis court, maybe an equestrian operation, something along
Hey,
those
we're
lines.
we're going to need to refrain from making comments in the audience and allow her to state her case, please.
Thank you. Instead, what you're going to hear this evening is that the use at hand is very high impact. You will hear about the noise, the dust, the fumes, and the common occurrence of emergency services being present at the property. Appellant also alternatively argues that if the use is not provided for in the ordinance, it must be allowed on the property. Again, the township refutes that, and it's primarily because of this special exception, which I've mentioned, which is a catch-all provision provided for in the C1 commercial district. And I just want to kind of clarify, I know that this board understands permitted by right, special exception, conditional use, but for the sake of the audience, I want to make really clear what I'm saying here, because this isn't intended to be a hard stop prevention of this operation at the property. We just do not believe the right process was implemented here. So if this board will just entertain me, I'd like to just explain the difference between those use categories. A use permitted by right being the first use category, conditional use, and then special exception. These are in zoning considered the broadest of categories of uses that can be allowed in any zoning district. And really the difference between these categories is just the level of review allocated to an application submitted under these categories. So for instance, a use permitted by right, the best example of that is a single-family dwelling unit in a single-family zoning district. Something like that can be administratively approved through the township. A special exception, on the other hand, is allowed in a zoning district if it's approved by this board. Uses allowed by special exception are usually a little bit more intense, a little bit more impactful than the uses permitted by right in that zoning district. And because of that nature of the use, they require advertisement and a hearing before this board. This board is able to oversee the proceedings in that matter, review the application, apply the appropriate level of scrutiny, and then apply, if necessary, conditions on that use in order to mitigate the impact of the use in the relevant area. So a special exception is neither special nor an exception. It is a use that is allowed when the applicant submits the application, follows the appropriate process, and proves to this board that it has met the requirements of the ordinance to allow for that use. And then if this board determines that there need to be reasonable conditions, this board is allowed to place those conditions on the application. To be clear, this is not a special exception hearing. A special exception was not requested. It was not advertised for. All that's pending this evening before this board is an appeal of the NOV, the notice of violation, and the cease and desist order. And I just want to be very clear again, the reason why this distinction is so important here is because the township's argument is that this is not a use permitted by right. And alternatively, if this board finds that this is not a use permitted by right, it might also find that instead it's a use allowed by special exception. And so this board might ask, motocross does not appear in those defined uses in the C1. It might look at that exhibit I just passed out, section 240-28, and say, I do not see motocross track on this list. I don't see it enumerated. If this board goes to subsection, I believe it's D, which sets forth special exceptions, and it's kind of halfway through that little packet I just handed you at the bottom of a page. There's a category called comparable uses, which are not specifically listed. The township's argument is that while this proposed motocross track is not outdoor recreation, it may fall within this comparable uses, not specifically listed category as comparable, sufficiently comparable to some other use in the C1. But again, that would require the applicant to come here and seek that specific approval from this board. So that being said, that sets the scene for where I'd like to start out, and I only have one witness this evening, which will be Elizabeth Ross.
Do it here.
Yeah, that's fine with me if you don't mind.
Thank you. My name's Elizabeth Ross. I'm the zoning officer for Cecil Township.
She answered my first and second question. How long have you been the zoning officer for Cecil Township?
I've worked for the township for 10 years, and I've had this title for 6.
And so I think your title is zoning director. Is that the same thing, or does it encompass the zoning officer duties then?
It does. I'm the zoning officer and floodplain administrator, and MS4 coordinator.
Thank you. That sounds like you have a lot of hats. In your capacity as the zoning officer, zoning director for Cecil Township, are you familiar with the UDO and sometimes referred to as the Cecil Township zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the Cecil Township zoning map?
Yes.
Can you please just describe briefly your day-to-day duties as the zoning officer for the township?
Yes, I am responsible for enforcing compliance with the ordinance. I review applications for new construction, land development, and land use, and I respond to complaints about existing or changing uses of land or buildings.
And so you mentioned the enforcement process. Can you describe just briefly how that process works?
Typically begins with a complaint. Upon receipt of complaint, I conduct an investigation by observing the site and the activities or the circumstances. I may conduct online research as needed. I may ask for collaboration or input from other township officials or zoning officials in neighboring municipalities. I then analyze what I've observed against exactly what the zoning ordinance says and determine if there is a violation. And if there is a violation, I send out the appropriate letter or warning or notice or whatever.
Thank you. And so are you familiar with the property at 5 Weavertown Lane?
Yes.
Can you tell me who the owner of that property is?
D. Fuchs Enterprises,
And can you tell me which zoning district that property is located in?
C1 General Commercial.
Ms. Ross, in your capacity as the zoning officer, have you received complaints about the operation of a motocross track on the property?
Yes.
More than one?
Yes.
And can you please just generally describe what those complaints consist of?
Objection, relevance.
This is an enforcement proceeding, so I would offer that it's extremely relevant what the complaints were that initiated the enforcement proceeding.
Overruled.
Thank you. Can you please answer the question?
They were mostly about noise. However, there was mention of the emergency services being called to the property multiple times. There was mention of dust, increased traffic, mostly noise.
Thank you. And can you please describe how you investigated the property?
I visited the site and spoke with the property owner.
What did you observe when you visited the site?
I observed the tracks and the sign advertising them and a porta-john in addition to the regular farm buildings.
And so did you ultimately determine that a motocross track was being operated on
Yes.
the property? And did you ultimately determine that a motocross track is not permitted in the zoning district?
Yes.
That zoning district being C1?
Yes.
Did the applicant seek any other types of approval for this operation, special exception, building permits, or anything else?
No.
And did you issue an enforcement notice related to the operation of a motocross track at the property?
Yes.
Can you describe why you issued the enforcement notice?
So it was a cease and desist for the motocross operations because I determined that as defined and addressed in the Cecil ordinance, it does not qualify as an outdoor recreational facility. It is not a use by right.
And the notice that you issued was dated May 27th, 2025?
Yes.
Thank you. Just briefly, and I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this off the top of your head, but I'm going to, ask you anyway. Are you familiar with the comparable uses not specifically listed designation within the zoning ordinance?
Yes.
Can you describe what generally this board would look at to consider whether a use falls within that category?
The general nature, the general character of the use that is being proposed, as well as the impact on the surrounding properties.
And, as I mentioned before, is that something that a property owner in the C1 could seek as a special exception?
Objection, relevance.
That one we're going to sustain.
I guess I don't know. Could you explain to me why that is being sustained?
I believe the applicant is challenging whether or not this is an outdoor recreation use.
If I might, the appeal that was submitted specifically argues that it's excluded from any district within the township and therefore should be allowed on the property.
If I may respond, council is trying to turn this board into the issue of a special exception, which council has already acknowledged. That's not why we're here today. The question is begging this witness to be able to testify as if, hey, should this come through special exception? We're not here for a special exception. We are here for the limited appeal of whether this is a permitted use in Cecil Township under the zoning ordinance.
So are you willing then to waive the argument that this is not allowed under the zoning ordinance in any district?
I don't think that I have to waive it. It's not, your question as to whether my client should go through a special exception is irrelevant to whether we're here for an appeal.
Council, let's not have a side conversation between you two. Let's direct questions to the board. My position and my ruling is that asking the zoning officer to interpret the zoning ordinance isn't something we need this board to do, fact witnesses to do, and we would request that we continue and focus the questioning on why or why not this is not a outdoor recreation facility, and if there are any alternative uses, what those would be. So with that guidance, please rephrase your question.
So yeah, I would just like to make sure that it's preserved on the record that, I've made that objection, that I think that that's a completely relevant question. Just so it's there if we need future review.
I do have one thing from a zoning perspective, if that's okay.
Sure.
That
Put your mic down a little bit.
I do believe that the ordinance specifically prohibits uses that are not among those permitted by right, conditional use, or special exception. And while C1 specifically allows for an indoor and outdoor recreational facility, the definitions that the ordinance then gives for anything related to recreational is not comparable to a motocross track. There is no mention of motorized sports or motorized recreational activities or racetracks or anything like that. They provide definitions that specifically include tennis courts, bowling alleys, miniature golf, skating rinks, stables. They define recreational vehicle simply to be an RV that someone lives in. They do not address motorized recreational vehicles in any capacity. They define indoor recreation. They define a recreational enterprise as an establishment for the pursuit of sports or similar recreational activities. I do believe these definitions, apply to the proposed use here. However, as it is very specific as to what is permitted use by right, what is conditional use and what is special exception, I would see it more appropriately a comparable use than a use by right.
Thank you. And so that explanation, does that account for why you made the determination to issue the notice and order?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there anything else you'd like this board to know?
I would also like to mention Section 405 of the UDO, or codified Section 240-15, which states that all proposed uses of property, except individual single-family detached dwellings. Yes. Section 405 of the UDO, it's codified Section 240-15. It requires that all uses of property be in accordance with an approved site plan. That's it.
And was the site plan submitted?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have for Ms. Ross, and I'm happy to hand this over now to the appellant to present their case, with the ability obviously, for the appellant to cross-examine Ms. Ross and redirect if necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you. One moment, please. Okay, Ms. Ross. So,
I apologize, sir. Your name is Joshua Larkin?
yes,
that
Joshua
correct?
Larkin,
Okay, thank you.
of the law firm Titoris and Associates here in Washington County. Okay, Ms. Ross, just because I want to make sure the title is correct, you were the zoning director, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you were also, that encapsulates, obviously, you write notices of violation as a zoning director as well, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you drafted a notice of violation to my client dated May 27, 2025, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we can agree that a zoning officer's job is to put a citizen on notice of what they're in violation of, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that such notice must specifically state what the violation is so that that respondent can respond fairly and accurately, correct?
Yes.
It's required by the zoning ordinance to be as specific as possible, correct?
It's required to say certain things, yes.
To state specifically what the violation is.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Ross, do you have a copy of your May 27th letter?
Yes.
Okay. Can you let me know when you're good with that, and I'll ask you my next question.
Okay, go.
Good to go?
Yep.
All right. So, Ms. Ross, looking at the first paragraph, the purpose of this letter was under the township's belief that my client was in violation of the zoning ordinance for a C1 general commercial zoning district, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And this letter stated that the violation was, quote, the erection and use of a motocross track on the property, end quote, and that such use is not authorized in a C1 zoning district, correct?
Yes.
So the township's position is that my client's use of the property is not permitted, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Without any additional approvals.
Okay. And you said that you took some time to actually go to the property.
Yes.
Were there riders on the property when you went?
No.
At any point, did you evaluate whether such riders on the property were professional or earned some kind of income from racing on my client's property?
Yes.
You verified that the riders were not receiving any kind of payment for riding on my client's property?
They're kids.
Okay. So they're not receiving any payment, right?
Correct.
Okay. So then we can agree that my client's riders are using the track for leisure,
Yes.
for fun,
Yes.
for recreation.
Yes.
Okay. Section 240-28, I believe that was one that we have already admitted. Right? You admitted 240-28? Ms. Ross, I'm going to direct your attention to Section 240-28, C1 General Commercial District. Let me know when you have that. You okay with that?
I got it, yes.
All right. My client's property is in fact a C1 General Commercial District, correct?
Yes.
Section 240-28 dictates what that entails for my client's property, correct?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to look at the subsection that opposing counsel has alluded to several times, uses by right. we can agree that an indoor and outdoor recreational facility is a use by right, correct?
Yes.
We can further agree that a motocross track or any type of operation my client is running is not a conditional use, correct? Not sure?
I don't believe it would fall under, yeah, no, it's not a conditional use.
Okay. It's not a daycare center, correct?
Yeah, no,
It's not a personal care boarding home, correct?
no,
Okay. I don't want to go through all of it, but can we agree that it's not a conditional use?
yes.
Okay. One second, please. Ms. Ross, I'm handing you some sections from the zoning ordinance. 240-7 is at the top, 240-8 is at the bottom. In fact, most of this is 240-8.
Definitions.
Definitions 240-8. Now, Ms. Ross, you've come across this ordinance in your time as a zoning director, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so you're pretty familiar with the definitions that are inside this ordinance.
yes,
Okay, so I'm going to direct your attention, and I've tried to keep this as time-saving as possible. I've marked with a sticky note, page 27 out of 39, top definition, recreation indoor. Can you do me a favor, can you read what the definition for recreation indoor?
any indoor athletic activities such as but not limited to swimming pools, track and field facilities, soccer fields, gymnasiums, or skating rinks, ice or roller.
So these are all indoor.
Yes,
We can agree these are rather activities that take up a lot of space, correct?
yes,
We can further agree that nowhere in these definitions is an outdoor recreational activity defined, correct?
correct.
And then I think you briefly testified for a moment about, well, there's a recreational vehicle that is defined in this ordinance, correct?
Yes,
We can agree that is not relevant to a motocross track, correct?
correct.
So, with that considered, with us agreeing that there's no definition for an outdoor recreational activity, your opinion is that a motocross track is simply not permitted by right because it's not an outdoor recreational activity.
As defined by Cecil ordinance.
Ms. Ross, we just agreed that there is no definition for an outdoor recreational activity.
As addressed in any way whatsoever by Cecil Township ordinance.
Okay, so, Ms. Ross, I'm still not seeing anything defining that you keep referencing as defined in the ordinance. But we agree there is no definition.
Which is why it's comparable to what is set forth in the ordinance.
So your opinion is we can't define what an outdoor recreational activity is, but we can tell you what's comparable to an outdoor recreational
Objection.
activity.
I don't think that that's how her testimony can be characterized, and I think this board is aware that if a term is not defined by an ordinance, you then look to the basic meaning as set forth in a commonly used dictionary.
You can answer the question to the extent you know the answer.
I think that there's all types of things that people do for recreation, indoor and outdoor. Some are more impactful than others. Those addressed in the Cecil Township ordinance are not as impactful as what is proposed on this property. And I determined that it therefore is more fit as a comparable use than a use by right. There is no definition.
So your opinion is it's more impactful, so it should not be permitted by right.
Yes.
And you do not rely upon the ordinance at all to come to that conclusion, correct?
That objection again, Ms. Ross just testified more than once that she looked at the uses that are allowed in indoor recreation and elsewhere in the definition section of the zoning ordinance and made a determination based on the character of those uses that this was not of the same character.
Counsel is
I
Ms.
do believe that Ms. Ross has answered this question, and I don't know that it's helpful to ask her to make a legal interpretation. That's what we're going to be asked to do. So if you could just kind of move on.
Okay. One second, please.
Absolutely.
I have no other questions for this witness.
Not yet. Do you have any redirect?
No.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for this witness?
Not yet.
This
No.
is gonna be, okay. All right, Ms. Ross, you're not going to go anywhere, but you're excused from testifying in this matter.
Thank you.
Any other witnesses on behalf of the township?
No other witnesses on behalf of the township. I just reserve the right to cross-examine the witnesses of the appellant, which chatting ahead of time included Mr. Hughes. And if he's included in appellant's case in chief, then I don't intend to call any other witnesses.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Sirs, yeah, Mr. Larkin, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Very briefly, I'll save more remarks for closing argument, but since counsel did a little introduction, I feel it'd be best to introduce myself and my client, who I'm sure needs no introduction to the board. My name is Joshua Larkin with the law firm of Tatoris and Associates in Washington County. I have the honor and privilege of representing Mr. Donald Fuchs in this matter. As I said, I think he is a man who needs no introduction based off of the businesses that he has initiated, the people that he has helped throughout the course of his career, and now continues to push to help others by way of using this, what we believe is a clear-cut permitted use on his property. I will be asking Mr. Fuchs just a few questions because I think that this is a matter that is clearly more that of a legal conclusion for the board to review and determine. Very briefly, Mr. Fuchs has, counsel has alluded to this special exception provision. We've had a lack of definition of what an outdoor recreational activity is. We've had statements by counsel, hey, you need to file a special exception, which we are not here for today. To me, as I began to discuss on cross-examination of Ms. Ross, it seems rather nonsensical to say we cannot define what an outdoor recreational activity is, while at the same time saying this activity is similar to an outdoor recreational activity. To me, it seems that you need to be able to define the first in order to find the second. My client is going to testify as to what everybody knows, the ownership of the property, what this new use on the property is, why he's doing it, general public reaction that he's received from it. So with that being said, I will save any arguments for legal conclusions at the end, and I would like to call my first witness, Mr. Donald Fuchs. Go pick up the mic, Don. Okay with that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. All right, sir, please state and spell your name for the record for the court reporter.
Donald E. Fuchs, 3866 Millers Run Road, 15057, McDonald, PA.
And what is your relationship to the property at issue in this matter?
I am the owner and a manager.
Of D. Fuchs Enterprises?
E. Fuchs Enterprises.
Mr. Fuchs, are you aware of how your property is zoned in Cecil Township?
Yeah, it is commercial, or C1 commercial.
And were you aware of that whenever you began a motocross operation on your property?
Yes.
How long have you been using your property for this use?
I want to say about 3 months, maybe.
How often do riders go on the track at your property?
Well, at present, we're only running on the weekend, and we run from 10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, 2 days a week, Saturday and Sunday. At present, that is.
Mr. Fuchs, are there any riders that come to your property that receive some sort of income from riding on your property?
No.
For what purpose do riders come to your property?
Enjoyment. It's a really nice sport, and it's a family sport, and I see a lot of young kids involved in this, and that's what it's all about. It's recreation, and it's keeping the kids off the street, and they got a place to go now, and I think it's well appreciated and received by a lot of people.
What is your understanding of your ability to have an outdoor recreational activity on your property?
I thought it was legal as heck, and because I looked a little bit about this, I'm certainly no Philadelphia lawyer, but I think that there's it is perfectly legal to do what I'm doing.
You believed it was allowed by right.
Yes.
Why did you open your property to be used as a motocross track?
Because I've been trying to figure out how to get younger people interested in everything. And I have a garden center, and the garden center, I notice more and more mothers and dads that are teaching their kids how to garden. Before, there was never nothing like this. And the motocross or motor track, I see more families, and we have 4 different tracks, and we have them for kids that are from 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 10, and then they can go to the big track if they're quite qualified. We got little kids up there that are 3 years old ride, and their mothers and dads support them.
Awesome. What is the reaction from the public to your property's use?
I want to say, in general, it's pretty positive. It's a positive, that's for sure.
What is the reaction of law enforcement to your property's use?
I think law enforcement is enthused about the fact that we have a track there, because now if they catch kids riding on private property where they're not allowed to, and on slate dumps and so forth and so on, and they said, you know, now they have a place to tell them to go ahead, go. Here's a track, so now they can more enforce the law, and I think they're quite pleased with that.
Mr. Fuchs, I've handed you what I have labeled as Exhibit B, and I believe council is okay with admitting this, given that it's a site plan that was inside our
No objection.
Now, just for the board, I'd like to orient ourselves. If you were holding the Exhibit B in such a way that the map with Red Point Engineering is off to the right, I'm going to ask my client just a few questions to orient.
She's going to pull it up on the screen.
Thank you, Ms. Liz. This image at front, is this a fair and accurate depiction of your property?
Pretty much so, yes.
Mr. Fuchs, how many tracks are on your property?
Pardon me, how many tracks?
Correct.
Like I explained before, there's 4 tracks for the different age groups, but 4.
And looking at this site survey that you've submitted, are there appropriate restrooms on your property for the public to use?
Yes, there are. We have a couple porta-johns, yes.
Are there appropriate roadways for cars to traverse?
Real quick, sorry, I have a real quick question. You said there's 4 tracks, but it seems to be depicting 3 tracks. Is there location of another one you could explain?
Very small track for children.
One second, I just want to verify. So, Mr. Fuchs, can you make that correction for the board regarding the number of tracks?
Well, it's 3 tracks that are quite noticeable, if that's what you want to say, yes.
Okay.
So there's a 4th one, it's just not represent. I mean, he said there's one for 3 to 5-year-olds, one for 5 to 7-year-olds, one for 7 to 10-year-olds, and then adult and more experienced
Yes.
riders on a 4th one.
Pretty
So
much
there's
so,
4
yeah.
total, but we can't, one is smaller and it's not represented here. Is that what you're saying?
The one that's probably not shown there, is the little guys and girls that are 3 years old.
Okay.
And so that, I guess, they're just on a little flat circle, and so I guess that's why it wasn't specified, I never thought in my wildest dream that there was baby, or if you want to call them babies, children that small are riding, and they are so excited. If a person come up there, sometimes I see but it's just a little circle of a track, and they have a good time.
Okay.
Supervised by their mother and dads. Their mother and dads train them. I've seen a lot of different types of sports, but I never saw anybody so much involved with the family, and I think it's family fun. It's family fun, and they really enjoy it. The little guys, you can't get them off the track. Their mom and dads want to go home. Little guys ain't hearing nothing about it,
That's great. Mr. Fuchs, do you have appropriate pathways for cars and people to traverse?
I would
Yeah.
like to object to this line of questioning only because the sufficiency of things like sanitary facilities, other amenities of the property are really within the purview of a code enforcement officer, and I haven't heard any foundation laid that Mr. Fuchs is able to speak to whether those things are actually legally adequate.
Counsel testified in her opening that there was a lack of these things. She's not a code enforcement officer, and she certainly made that argument.
Yeah, I'm going to overrule the objection. I am going to ask that we try to focus the questioning on the issue at hand, which is...
This is my last one. Okay. Mr. Fuchs, can you please answer the question? Are there sufficient pathways for vehicles and individuals to traverse?
Yes, there are. We got an entrance going into the place, and they go up to the track, and then after they park their vehicles and so forth, then they go back down that road. But there is an exit in case there was ever an emergency, a big emergency, that takes them out onto another road. And I had some pictures of that if anybody was interested in it. But and if we have a place, it is really a intense sport that people can get hurt pretty good. There's no question about it. And that's what they seem to know going in. But I have a road going out, and there's a place for, this is getting way out there because I prepare all the crazy stuff that you'd never think would happen. But I got a place up there, it's flat as a pancake, and you could land a helicopter up there in case ever was some really crazy thing happen, and it has a special exit going on. And the police and the firemen, when they first came there was a problem with confusion about the address. And they said to me, they came 2 days after we had a little incident, and he said, Dawn, would you do us a favor? We had a problem locating the place because it wasn't listed on the way it was. So we immediately went out, and if you come off of 980, you will see that there's a sign that says Weaverton, and it also has the number of the street, number 5. And so it's very, so now if there is a problem, they can get right to it and they know exactly what to do, you know, so.
Further questions for this witness?
Okay. Your opportunity to cross?
Thank you. Do you mind if I just take one piece?
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll take, here,
No,
you
it's all right.
you keep that one.
I offered it so that you could have a smooth, direct examination, but I just need one for a moment. I don't have a lot of cross-examination, but I would like to just clarify the statement by counsel of my remarks regarding sanitary facilities, other sorts of amenities on the property. My statement is not related to the sufficiency or the adequacy or whether those are appropriate. It's whether they exist. Which I think is extremely relevant to the consideration of this application. So I just want to put that out there. Mr. Fuchs, and may I ask, is it Fuchs?
If you want to move a little closer to me, I'm old and my hearing's going bad, and I go like, what the hell, I better get hearing aids.
So let me just come over here. Mr. Fuchs, or is it Fuchs?
Books, F-U-C-H-S.
Fuchs. Okay, so I was not saying it correctly, and I apologize about that. Just a few questions to piggyback off of the questions that you just answered from your counsel. Do you allow members of the public to use your track?
Yes, can the public use it? Yes.
Do they pay a fee to use it?
What they do is, eventually, you're gonna get to that, but as we speak right now, they put a cease and desist that I wasn't allowed to run the track.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the thing and I thought that, and it's my assumption, that I was okay to do what I did. And Donnie Januso, who is the township manager, he called me up and he said, Dawn, he said, we're gonna have to put a cease and desist on you because you don't have the proper thing. And I said to him, hey, listen, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm not patting myself in the back, but I said, I would hear to what you said, and I will not ride on the track. I called Donnie Januso back 5 minutes later because I had read the thing pretty good. Mm-hmm. And it said, a lot of the thing was motorized vehicles. And I said to him, I said, hey, Donnie, I said, I'll tell you what, I said, the way I understand and the way I read this, it's saying that it's okay if I have parties or private events or what the case might be. And he said to me, he said, after a minute of thinking about it, he said, Dawn, it's private property. You can do whatever you want to do. He said, if you want to have bikes or motorized vehicles, you can do it. Nobody can stop you on private. So what I did was, but if you will, 1 second, so I said on Sunday and Saturday, we're gonna have parties, and we have birthday parties.
Okay, so just for the record, I'm going to allow this board to understand that I do have an objection to the hearsay nature of the response to Mr. Fuchs' answer just there. Mr. Januso has not been called in this case, and he cannot, I guess, verify the accuracy of that recitation. So I would just like to place that on the record. I do appreciate, your inclination to provide reasoning for why you're operating the way that you are, but I don't know if you answered my question of whether or not you're charging a fee.
What I'm doing is I charge for you to come onto the track, and the donation, it's a donation, it isn't a charge. And we put that to the party who's having it, to their present. So it's a gift. It isn't a charge. And I don't, and that's the way it is.
Okay.
I mean, And that's the way it is. I mean, what am I gonna do?
Sure. So, when you are having people coming and using your track, do you have typical hours of operation?
Do I what?
Have typical hours of operation. I think I heard 10 to 4.
10 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. What we do is we stop taking people in at 2 o'clock. And the reason at 2 o'clock is on account of the people, when they come that late, they can't ride for too long. And spectators. Spectators come and they don't have to donate anything towards the donation. Spectators can come and look and watch their kids or what there is. I have a place up there, even, I got all kinds of stuff, but it's not necessary to bring it maybe, but I got all kind of pictures. I even have a handicapped place where a handicapped person can watch 4 of the jumps, so they don't have to. I mean, I tell you what, I think it's a well-run organization.
So, I do appreciate your responses again and your inclination to provide information, but I am asking you a series of questions that I would like to maybe just have you focus on what I'm asking you and
Yeah,
provide a
I
response to
thought
that
I
type of
answered that,
question.
but-
So your hours of operation, if we can call them that, are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday
At present.
at present. And I hear you use that phrase, at present. Is there anything stopping you from expanding those hours of operation?
Is there anything stopping me? I don't know that. Do I want to extend them? If I was to say anything, I'd probably want to do a little bit more daylight. And seeing it's been so excessively hot, I would have liked to have started earlier in the morning. But I'll tell you, out of consideration for the people in the neighborhood, I thought those were reasonable hours. And at 4 o'clock, there's nobody on the track. They are gone.
Okay. So, is it typical for more than one motocross bike to operate on the property at one time?
Oh, yes.
What is the largest amount of motocross bikes you've had operating on the property?
Being that we just got started and nobody really knows about us and it's all by the word and the people have a really good relationship on internet and everything else. So I notice what is happening is we get probably about 50 to 60 riders maybe on one day. And then what happens there is I notice, because we do keep a good record, and what I notice is happening is a lot of newer people are coming. So I think this week here we had 14 people that had never been on a track before, our track. And what's happening is, and another reason is, they have to travel so far. It's an hour and a half or something to get to a decent track. So now they can come here, ride, they're home, and as far as the neighbors, I think we're very respectful, because those are the hours that people come home from work, sit on their porch, and I don't think it's too bad.
Okay, and so you said 50 to 60 riders on average is what you would say?
What I said was, right now, we're growing.
Growing.
And so, hey, when we first started and nobody knew we was even open, I think we only had 7 or 8 riders.
Okay.
Very minimal. But as the weeks go, and I'll tell you something else, when we started, it was so wet that you couldn't ride. Mm-hmm. So out of the time we were open 3 months, I said, out of that period of time, we could not run. We were, out of 3 months, we actually operated 7 days.
So, but while you have been operating, was it your testimony that you've experienced as many as 50 to 60 riders on the track at one time?
I want to say at one time right now, we're around 40.
Okay.
That would be,
And you expect that to increase?
I definitely expect it to increase.
And so, do motocross bikes make noise?
Yeah, they do make noise, but no more than your lawnmower or anything else. When your husband or boyfriend or whatever, they use their weed blower in their yard, they got earmuffs on. these guys here. So what I did was, because it was a big thing with noise, people were concerned about noise. So what I did was, we hired a company, and we have their records here. I said, I gotta go see, because when I'd go around to the neighborhood, I'd actually sit and listen in people's places to see what the difference in the noise was. And not much noise ever left my property, because it's in such a situation that there's not. So we hired a company that's what they do. So they went around the neighborhood and they put up boxes and they monitored for the weekend to see how much noise there really was. And it was minimal. And leaving the property, it was next to none.
Do you have those readings available for the board?
Pardon me?
Do you have those readings available for the board? Do you have those readings on paper that the board can review?
Oh, heck yeah. We have that. Yeah.
Would the appellant be willing to provide those readings to the board for review? So, I mean, you can't submit something that you don't want to submit, but, you know, that's what, I don't know if the board is
Party,
inclined to have those readings.
Take a second. The question is, the appellant testified that he has proof, allegedly, that minimal noise is leaving the property. Follow-up question, do you have those records? The answer is yes. Would you be willing to provide them? That's the question. Yes or no?
And you know what? Truthfully, I guess that's what legal's about, to say what you can and cannot. But I speak from the heart, and I know what we did, and maybe whatever, but I definitely have documentation that says it was okay. That I got for sure. I paid for that service so that would know for sure, because I don't know. I had a lady tell me that they couldn't go out on their porch, and the whole summer was ruined. Well, I personally, okay. Question. My mouth never shuts up, so that's why I don't want to say nothing. I'll stay home next time.
Just for the board's edification,
If we
is
need
it
to call that witness, we can call that witness, yes. We have a report, obviously, we did not provide that because I was not anticipating this to be an issue, since we're here for an appeal of a permission by right.
okay?
I mean, if the board wants to hear that, wants to see that, that's fine. I don't think that it's relevant to whether a use is permitted.
So, just in rebuttal, I think that it's incredibly relevant. The noise, fumes, dust, anything like that that's being emitted on the property, because Ms. Ross testified earlier extensively that her decision was based on the impact of the property, and that impact being of a character different from other recreational uses.
Okay. So I guess it's still their case in chief, so you can put on whatever evidence you want to put on. The township's position is that it's not an outdoor recreational activity, because my understanding of the testimony is that motorsports aren't included. So if that's going to be part of the legal argument and you want to rebut it with witness testimony, that's your decision. But let's keep moving forward.
Okay. Do motocross bikes emit fumes, such as gasoline?
Objection, relevance.
I think that I just testified to this entire line of questioning and why I believe
Let's
it to
just
be
continue
relevant.
with the questioning and answer to the best of your ability.
Do motorbikes emit fumes? I do need
No,
you to try
please
to
answer the question.
You can give me a yes or no. You can just say yes or no. Do motorbikes emit fumes?
I don't know. I guess your car does, everything does. I couldn't answer that. I couldn't answer that.
Have you been on your property while the bikes are running?
Most definitely.
Are you able to smell gasoline? Any other sort of scent or fume?
Time? No.
Okay. What about dust? Do these bikes create dust?
After we, I don't know.
You can just say yes or no.
I got it. Did we make dust? when first, yes. But I have since corrected that. If you looked around the property now, I have 7 trailers with 7,000 gallons of water strategically placed. And we physically
Damping the
put
track.
the water on the track. And so we eliminated the first time. It was really bad, and I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know. I'm messing my whole deal up.
Have you had any accidents occur on the property?
How do you answer that? Yeah, there was a few accidents.
Can you speak into the mic, please?
You said there was a few accidents. Can you tell me when the last accident occurred?
Hey, you know what? If I feel like I'm being muzzled here. I don't know what the hell to say. So, no. The last accident that occurred I think was 2 weeks ago. And anybody that rides bikes, they're well aware of they are going to get busted up. And they take that with a grain of salt. Does that ever happen? And I'd say yes. And it would continue to happen, I'm sure. But I try and build a safe track, but I don't know that.
No, that's understandable. So, with those accidents, was an ambulance or fire truck needed to be
Yes.
called?
2 times.
2 times. How many accidents would you say have occurred since you've been operating?
How many times? That's it. I think there was 3.
3?
1 or thereabouts.
And so you attached to your application, and it was entered into evidence, I believe, as Appellant Exhibit B, a site plan. Is that correct?
Me?
Did you attach a site plan to your appeal?
Yes.
Did you submit that site plan to the township for any type of review or approval?
I would imagine, but I don't have it.
You don't know?
I don't have it now, you know.
Okay. On the property, do you expect to allow camping?
At this present time, no.
Okay, and that's at this present time. Do you expect to allow concession stands, other types of accessory provisions for your guests?
No.
You're not serving any food on the property. You're not serving any food on the property.
No.
Do you have receptacles on the property for proper disposal of trash?
Do we? Yes.
What about fueling facilities? Do you provide fueling facilities?
I'm sorry.
Fueling facilities? Or do people bring their own fuel?
We provide what?
Fuel? Do you have fueling facilities where people can gas up their bikes?
No.
Okay. And you testified that you have a porta-john for your guests to use?
2.
2 porta-johns for your guests to use. Do you provide water or anything like that?
Water? No, they normally bring their own water, and no.
Do you know how close any of your tracks are to the property lines?
I don't exactly know, you could tell by this, but they're a good ways away. As a matter of fact, when I first started, that's it?
That's it. Do you have any fencing around the property?
No.
Did you install, before you started the operation, any type of additional vegetative buffering, like trees or mounds or anything like that?
Have I taken anything down, or do I have more ready?
Put it up.
No, I didn't put anything up.
Okay, that's all of the questions I have for Mr. Fuchs.
Any redirect?
Not working now? Mr. Fuchs, can you pick up your mic? Sir, are you on your track all the time, or do you have somebody carry out the logistics and management for your track?
No, Cooper right back there, he's the one that runs the track.
Okay. Now, you testified that there was, I think your testimony consisted of 40 people on a track. Did you mean that at the same time, or was that at different times?
I'm not understanding the
You
question.
testified that there were 40 people on your track.
No, they're never on the track at the same time.
Okay. No other questions for this witness.
Any questions from the board members?
Yeah.
Yes, please. Mr. Fuchs, when you say you have 50 to 60 riders, how many other people are watching and spectators do
Well,
you have?
first of all, I retracted that because that was in 2 days when I mentioned that number. I was thinking on 2 days. But I did mean that there was 40 riders in 1 day. But do we have people that come in spectators? As many as 25, sometimes more. They like to watch their grandchildren or whatever ride their bikes.
So we're thinking maybe 75 people at one time, max?
The most I've seen now, keeping the records on that, I think at one time we had maybe 55.
Okay, thank you.
And just to clarify, one bike is operating on a track at a time. Is that correct? Or multiple bikes are? I guess I'm trying to get to the answer of how many bikes are on and running at the same time.
Not as many as you'd think, because I'm going to tell you what, that is a gruesome sport. I have pictures of it, people making jumps and so forth. Maybe 2 hours, and they're done. 4 hours, they're going home and they ain't coming back. So, and they take a break in between times. So as far as saying that many people are on a track at the same time, I can honestly say no.
Okay. But would it be like how many people are on the big track? How many bikes are operating on the big track at the same time?
At the same time,
Like 5 or 2 or 10 or?
I'd say maybe as much as 10, but that's about it.
Okay.
Now, I do not count that and see exactly how many, but they stay a safe distance. They're pretty well seasoned
Okay.
riders.
So we may have a total of like 20 to 30 bikes running at the same time,
At the same
including all
time,
tracks.
The answer would be no.
Okay. So the big track is maybe 10 people at the same time, and the smaller tracks have less operating at the
Is
same time.
whenever, as things grow, you're probably going to have more, or maybe we'll need a bigger track or something, but we're running at a minimal now, and all that stuff there, his stuff that he can answer that I'm not qualified to
Okay.
answer because he watches the track all the time.
Okay.
That's his job.
I did want to ask, so we said it was in operation for 3 months, and in 3 months' time, you had 3 what you'd call accidents, and then 2 times when emergency services were called, correct?
Correct.
And it sounded like maybe one time there were some issues with getting to the track expediently because they weren't sure about how to get there. Is that correct?
As far as finding the track?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
The reason it was that I mentioned that, it was the fire department and the ambulance. They couldn't figure out where we were because of the address.
Okay.
So that's why they wanted to put the sign up. 2 days we had signs up. If you, we have pictures of it. They're there now. You know exactly where you're at.
Okay. Another question I have is that the letter that we received from the attorney states that my client intends on further conducting an impact study on the property to ensure that operations on my client's property do not negatively affect any of the surrounding properties, including by conducting sound and dirt tests to ensure no unnecessary dirt or sound leaves the subject's property. What would be the timing of that? I mean, I would think it would be something that would be done beforehand, but I'm just curious when are you intending to do that?
If I could just clear that as his counsel. He did conduct a sound study, which we actually do have the individual here who conducted that. I will gladly put that on for the township. He has it on a USB. Unfortunately, I was not planning on presenting that, so I do not have hard copies for you. I don't know if the township would be okay with bringing up a USB to his report, but the sound study has already been conducted. Mr. Fuchs was waiting to conduct any further studies pending the outcome here today, just because of logistics, costs, things like that.
Okay. So it hasn't been, the sound study has been completed.
Sound study has.
The dirt, dirt test, I don't know what you call it, hasn't occurred. And there was no type of of traffic impact study completed, correct?
The only study was a sound test because at this time for the issue of whether this was permitted by right, it
Understood.
wasn't relevant at that time.
Understood. Okay.
Mr. Fuchs, I have another question for you. Did you have to obtain any earth disturbance permits to put these tracks in?
Can you repeat your question?
Did you require any earth disturbance permits in order to put these tracks in?
No, I did not do any, I didn't move any dirt to put the tracks. Only thing I did was take soil and build jumps. I never dug anything, moved anything, or anything interfering with the watershed or any of that stuff. It wasn't necessary. I didn't do no digging. If it would have been digging done or something, that's a different story, but there was no digging. This is strictly on top of the ground, nothing in the ground.
Thank you.
No problem.
I just wanted to clarify one more thing. I'm a little confused about. Sorry. Before there was any cease and desist in place at all, what were people paying to use the track?
How much are they paying?
Yes.
Whatever they want to really give, but we try and get, say, hey, we'd like a donation of this or that for the birthday party. That's it. Outside of that, we didn't charge anything because there was really no activity. But the cost of running that thing, even for birthday parties, is astronomical when you think of the water buffaloes and all the stuff that you have to do and watering a track to keep the dust on. I don't want to charge, to say, hey, or sign up saying this is what you got to pay. It's basically up to you. I can suggest, but if somebody was to say, hey, I don't want to pay, I say, hey, do what you got to do, maybe. I'm not sure on that one. I'm not
I guess
sure.
kind of out of curiosity, what would you suggest if someone asked you
What would I suggest?
as a donation?
I want to say, but I ain't got no problem with this. Would I tell them what I suggest?
The board's asked you, so
$35, and that's for all day. You can stay as long as you want, or you can go home or
Okay.
do whatever you want to do. It's $35. Donation.
Got
for
it.
the party.
And there's no parking fee or anything like that.
No, nothing. And again, I'll repeat myself, any spectator, no matter who they are, what they are, they don't need to do anything. They just go up there. They do have to sign a waiver to get onto the track. There's a lot of stuff like that, but
Okay. Anyone on the board have any additional questions?
With the waivers, is that something that they have to sign every time, or do you keep them on file just for like a year and then they have to renew them?
we're going to get hearing aids pretty soon. 4 years from now.
No, so for the waivers, you keep them on file, and they're good for like a year's time span, and they have to renew them, or is it something that it's like a lifetime for membership?
keep the waivers on file or do they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I have the girl. Everything today is on a computer or something. So when the people come, because they go through a big thing to get on in the first time, the second time when they come, they press up their license plate number or their driver's license, and they know they've been there before. So it isn't as stringent. But do they have to sign to get on the track and that? Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else have any other questions?
No.
Okay. We get a public comment on this?
Any more witnesses?
Yes, I will call Cooper Amos.
I'd ask Cooper if you can spell your name for Kathy over here so she gets your name spelled correctly. I think she can probably spell Cooper, but I'm going to give her.
Yeah, it's Cooper, and then my last name is Amos, Amos.
Mr. Amos, what is your relationship to the property at issue?
I just run the track and maintain everything.
How long have you been doing that?
I'd say about probably 3 months, 4 months now.
Okay. And during your hours of operation, is Mr. Fuchs always present
He is, yeah.
Does he run the logistical or the operations, or is that something you do?
That's something I do.
Okay. So can you please clarify, because there's a couple of questions as to how many riders might be on each track at any given time?
Yeah, so it depends. Like, we might have 30 riders on the track at a time, but it also depends. Like, it's a judgment call on us and some of the other people that help me. Like, we'll run classes. You know, we'll run like an A-B class, which is like more of your advanced and more skill riders, and then a C and D class, which is more for like beginners. And then we will run a kids class as well if the little kids want to get on the big track. So just depends on how many people we have in a day. But yeah, to answer your question, probably about like no more than 30 bikes on the track at once.
Is that just the big track, or is that among all 4 tracks together?
That's just the big track.
How many might be on the smaller ones?
Smaller ones, it just depends on how many people we have that show up, like kids or whatnot. So
Yeah, no, that's fine. I have no other questions for this witness.
thank you.
I don't have any questions, but I would just like to ask if appellant, I don't know how much further you have in your case in chief. Do you have any more witnesses?
So as I said, I did not print out that sound study because that was not a something that I anticipated coming up in the limited use here. However, I don't want to appear before the board as if we're trying to hide a ball. I would very much like to put on our expert who has conducted the sound study to show you that there is no issues. He does not have a hard copy. I don't know how the township would feel about putting a USB on a township computer. If you wanted to review that, it would be.
I think I'll defer to the township, but
I think that's fine.
That's fine.
Well, is the expert here to testify? You conducted the sound study? Okay. Yeah, if they want to pull it up, is that, I guess what I'm just asking here is, if you don't mind, as a housekeeping matter, I'd like to just reserve time at the end for like a final statement, a quick final statement, but I do know we have to get through public comment and everything like that. So I just want to make sure that, we have our schedule in order. I don't have any problem if you want to pull it up on a USB drive, if we're able to do that. Do you mind if I just keep that one?
let's just do this real quick. And then, yeah, why don't we just, if you would like to call him, why don't we do it? We'll keep it direct and to the point and get through this, and then we'll move forward.
While we're doing that, Cooper, I'm going to just be super annoying and ask one more question. So you said up to 30 people could be running on the large track at the same time.
That's correct, yeah.
And then the smaller tracks, just a ballpark, between 1 and 5 people are on each of the small tracks at a time, or
Yeah, on the kids track there could be anywhere like 10 people probably, yeah. So, and then the other tracks, yeah, same, like 20, 10 people, somewhere around there.
So would it be fair to say that at any one point in time you have 70 bikes running, possibly?
Not all at one time. I mean, everyone goes out at different times. People come in, they eat lunch or just taking a break or whatnot. So it's always, like I said, if there's
It's something less than
if
that.
there is a lot of people on the track, then we as a team, we take it and we start separating it into groups, like I said. So we'll run the A, B, C, D in a kids class. So
Got it.
just depends. Yeah.
Like if the 31st person shows up and you still have 30 that are there on the big track, do you you would let more people go, or you haven't got
we
that?
don't. Like I said, we don't let people go. Then we'll start breaking up in the classes and things like that. So
it's not just like go as you
we
are.
keep it safe.
I
We
see.
can't have like A, B riders who are like really good at riding be on the track
Okay.
with CD. Like,
Okay.
if there's too many people on.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Hello?
You state your name and role for.
Who I am.
Yes, please.
Tage, T-A-G-E, Rosendahl, R-O-S-E-N-D-A-H-L. I am a regional manager for acoustical control. I manage our operations in the Northeast U.S. as well as Canada.
Mr. Rosendale.
Dahl.
Rosendahl.
Close enough. Yeah, good.
Mr. Rosendahl, you conducted a sound study for my client's property.
We did.
When did you conduct that study?
We conducted it over a period around July 4th through the 6th.
Is this an activity that you normally partake in for other clients of yours?
Yes.
For how long have you conducted such studies?
I started doing this in June of 2011. I've done several hundred of these.
What kind of training or education have you received to be able to conduct these sound studies?
I have a BS in environmental science, and I've been working in this industry for 15 years, so a lot of hands-on field experience.
And when did you conduct the sound study for my client's property?
July 4th through the 6th.
Okay. And can you briefly describe to the board what your findings of that sound study were, as well as your procedures?
Sure. So we use ANSI regulated monitoring equipment. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with it. It allows us to.
I was looking at the dates, by the way. The 4th through the 6th with a Friday through Sunday. Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
That it allows us to see, spectral analysis as well as a whole bunch of other things that we can bore you with at a later date. But we also have the ability to collect sound clips to identify noise sources that are spikes and other stuff like that, because noise oscillates throughout the day just kind of randomly. And so we deployed 4 monitoring devices around the property. And you can see on the map, monitoring location 1 is a little hazy, kind of towards the top north of the track, basically, and a little northeast. It's approximately 200 feet from the tracks. Monitoring location 2 is to the southeast. It's kind of a green color. It's about 1,500 feet from the tracks. Monitor 3 is the south, or to the west rather, I'm sorry, of the tracks. And it is at about 1,900 feet from the tracks. And then monitor 4 is to the northwest, and it is 300 feet from the tracks. So 2 of the monitoring devices were very close to the noise sources, and 2 of them were quite a distance from the noise sources. The closest one, which would be to the northeast of the tracks, again at 200 feet, the average sound level over the 72-hour period was 61.5, with the highest level at 70.1. We did look at the areas of during the hours of operation as well. Obviously, we all know what was going on the 4th of July. There was some significant noise in the evening, as you could expect. But in general, the noise levels were sub 60 decibels. At monitoring location 2 to the southeast, which is closest to the neighborhoods, you can see kind of the green dot. There's a little cluster of houses there. The levels there over the 72-hour period, the average sound level was 55.3 dBA. The highest was 60.8. That's over an hour-long period. And that hour was the 10 p.m. hour. So just to kind of indicate that not always the loudest stuff is what you would expect it to be. At the monitoring location 3, 50.8 was the average sound level. The highest was 61.9. This was at 5 a.m., at the hour of 5 a.m. And then the monitoring location 4 was 54, with the highest rating at 63.4, which was during the hours of operation. Without kind of a real hard limit, we used 65 decibels as kind of a nuisance arbitrary number to kind of run from. All of the numbers are below that. There were periods where numbers got above that, but the times that happened were at the closest monitoring locations, the 1, 2, and 300 feet away. Monitor 3, again, the one that's closest to homes. Figure out how to run this guy here. Yeah. Here we go. So monitor 2, which is the one closest to homes, is the green line. I don't know, can you guys see if you can see that there's a green line? It's kind of really consistent. So all of them will kind of drop down in the evening hours, and then as life starts to happen, people are out doing things, the levels start to come up. And so you can see kind of the daytime hours, they're pretty consistent in the green line. There's no big spikes. They go up, they kind of plateau, and then they come back down. Now you can notice with 2 of the others, which are monitors 1 and 4, that are closer, you can see there's a bigger change. And that's because they're so much closer to the noise source. So there is a greater increase in those levels close to the noise. As you get further away, noise dissipates. And so you can see kind of where you're relatively consistent with the green line. One of the largest contributing factors to that is its proximity to highly traveled roads. And this can be exhibited in the data as you look at it. It's pretty consistent throughout the day, that's much more elevated without seeing real high elevations. But those are kind of some of the things that stuck out when we looked at the data and looked at it. You can see that there were some fireworks. You can hear the motorbikes on some of the peaks that were above 65 decibels during the race times. But those were only at the nearest monitors.
Question, where is the line for ML4? Because I only see 3 lines. I see for ML1, ML2, and ML3, but I do not see a line on this chart for ML4.
Kind of hard to see. It's strange. It's shown at the top. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on the graph. I'm going blind, so that's the darker blue. Yeah, I think there's just 3 showing up on the graph. Yeah, there is. You can see them right here, 1, 2, and 3. So, but I can provide that. That's not a problem.
And just another, is it okay if I ask some questions?
Yep.
Okay. Another question about this. This is only measuring dBAs, not dBCs, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Let's, before we do that, let's,
If I
Okay.
may,
you
just-
continue.
Got
with
it.
your
Go
direct-
ahead. Continue. Sorry.
Sir, I'm going to direct your attention to page 2 of your report. Dealing with noise ordinances. I'll give you a second to get there for yourself and the board.
Yep.
Okay, so you, to your knowledge, is there a noise ordinance in Cecil Township?
It just speaks to nuisance.
And you testified that you chose that select number of 65 dBA. Why did you select that number?
It's frequently used as kind of a nuisance level. Anything around 60 decibels is basically a casual conversation. Most of the noise that we're seeing, that would be anywhere kind of around the property boundaries would be, generally lower than that. So just kind of for reference, that 65 decibel level would be, maybe a vacuum running in your house, window AC unit, toilet flushing, something like that.
That was going to be my next question. So, in your opinion, does the noise produced by my client's property, does it reach the level of being a nuisance?
I'm going to object because that's a legal conclusion that he's asking of this witness, and I don't believe this witness has laid any foundation to be able to answer that.
I'm going to overrule. We'll take his opinion what he's worth for what it's worth, but he's been asked to conduct a study and opine as to whether it's in violation of any ordinances. So you can answer it to the best of your ability.
During the hours of operation, I do not.
Okay. And you strike that. Were there any areas of concern of noise closest to neighboring properties, residential areas?
From the facility, or no. The largest impact from noise to the neighboring properties would be things that would be happening around the neighboring properties. Again, predominantly highly traveled roadways.
Okay. And those highly traveled roadways reached DBAs higher than the DBAs emitted by my client's property?
I would say generally, frequently, yes.
Okay. No other questions for this witness?
No, it was.
I do have one copy that I will gladly admit into evidence.
I would just like to review this before I have a chance to cross-examine it. It will only take me a minute.
Okay, we'll just want to take a 5-minute break and then we'll just resume.
That's fine.
Okay.
What the hell am I-
Excuse me? Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah. Would you want to come back and be like first on? Like, I don't anticipate us having one like this. We rarely have these. Would you want to come back in September? I am hoping. I don't know how many people are going to talk. I think this is almost done. But it should be short. Like, we're going to really try to keep the public comment to. Yeah. So. We could do a special meeting for this. Yeah. How old is he?
To be honest,
Oh shit.
hey, you know what? You being here?
Yeah, I mean, it's,
We can't work like
yeah, no, for sure. And there really isn't anything to hide. I mean, you know, can I hear you? Sure.
Before your wife kills you.
So there's a whole lot of subjectivity. Like they wanted to point that out on us, but you know, it's happening all across the board.
Let's talk to Liz. Let's see if we can just schedule something. Like, is that okay with you? I hate to waste your trip, but I don't think this is going to be over in 15 minutes. Hey, Liz.
That one, that'd be great.
Oh, sorry.
Yep.
We're going to bring this back to order here. I have one announcement that I need to make before we continue. There was a application 2025-0004, Helios Power LLC variance was scheduled to go after this, and based on the time, we are going to continue that hearing only to Monday, August 25th at 7 p.m.
Just, is anybody else here for that application? The solar panels? I know the applicant, but is anybody else? Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Did you have time?
Yes, I'm gonna keep this very short.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sorry, could you, Rosenthal?
Rosendahl.
With a D.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I just quickly reviewed your report, which I understand was compiled the weekend of the 4th of July. I saw in that report that there were 110 bikes present during that
Over the weekend. That
3-day
was,
period.
that was what we were told. Yes.
That's what you were told. Did you count the bikes?
No, ma'am.
Do you know if 110 bikes is average over a 3-day period for this facility?
I believe another gentleman can answer that better than I can. I don't know his name.
Well, is your
Cooper.
answer that you don't know, though? Is your answer no?
No, I was able to use the data that we were provided by them.
Okay, but you don't know.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I believe Ms. Sheridan asked a question about DBA versus DBC. Did you say that this report captures DBA or was providing an analysis of the DBA?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you describe for me the difference between DBA and DBC?
So generally, DBA, you'll hear spoken. It's the human ear's response, which is not quite factual, but it's weighted so that it's curved, so that the higher end and the lower end are dismissed. C-weighted is linear, so it captures more of the ends, if you will, of the spectrum.
Sure, different frequencies, if you will.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any opinion? And as a lawyer, I don't normally like to answer questions I don't know the answer to.
Sure.
As someone who conducts these studies fairly frequently, do you know whether a motocross bike would provide a higher DBC than DBA, or whether the fluctuation would be of any significance between those two measurements?
Sure. C-weighted, I mean, the lower frequency impact from engines is usually going to be louder or lower, so larger engines. I don't specifically know that answer because we weren't asked to look into it, because in general, DBC is not something that's looked at frequently. I know that sometimes it is, and I know that in some areas it is, but generally in this part of the world, it's not.
So, just a little bit of background about Cecil Township. I don't know if you're aware of, we have a lot of oil and gas development that
Yes, ma'am.
occurs around here.
Yes.
So DBC is something that I think we're pretty familiar with around here.
Yes, ma'am.
So is your testimony that you expect motored equipment to maybe project a DBC of some significance above a DBA, if I'm asking that question correctly?
Depends on the motor. Like
Okay.
if you were to hear a Harley, like clearly we could all be like, that's going to be much lower frequency. My expectation is the engines on here are much higher frequency comparatively. Whether that puts them into a higher or lower level from a frequency analysis standpoint, we did not perform that during this study, so I can't speak to that.
Okay. And I guess I'd like to just ask, you heard this evening that complaints had been received about the operation of this facility related to noise. Did you hear that testimony earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that surprise you at all?
Surprise, no. I mean, people complain about a host of different things. I don't believe that the noise levels that most people are experiencing are overly loud. Can they hear them? Sure. And so it's a matter of personal opinion. So it's a subjective issue. So it's hard to say.
Okay. And I saw on your graph that there were multiple instances where your ML1 measurement mechanism was reading above a 65 dBA.
Correct.
Would you be surprised if the DBC reading would be of any more significance than that? Those dBA readings?
Probably at that proximity, no. But further distances, perhaps.
And so, for instance, I saw a reading of 67.8 from your ML1. That was 200 feet from the track, correct?
Correct.
So, and I think you likened 70 dBA to a vacuum cleaner.
Sure.
So that's 200 feet from the track, the noise would be as if someone was operating a vacuum cleaner.
Sure.
That's how loud it was.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be considered, at a couple hundred feet, like your neighbors mowing their grass or doing any lawn maintenance. I mean, anybody who's ever heard, people running through the backpack leaf blowers, they're louder. That's why somebody had mentioned they wear ear protection.
Okay, that's all the questions I have for you. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Can I ask?
Let
Yeah, go ahead.
counsel redirect if he has any.
No questions on redirect. I would just ask for the admission of, I think we're on Exhibit C, unless you handed it back. Oh, yes. So we do have one copy because I don't want the board to be without. I apologize. It's the only one we have.
No problem. Any objections?
Any
Alexis,
objections?
Any
No
objections?
objection.
Okay, thank you.
Quick question. So the four monitoring locations, two of them were at 200 feet, two of them were at 300 feet. Are all those monitoring locations closer than any home?
So two of them, one was 200 feet, one was 300 feet, then one was 1,500, and one was almost 1,900. So I don't know the exact proximities to all of the homes in the area. I do believe that there are some that are closer than the 1,900 for sure.
Okay.
The ones.
Can you
north-
just give us the, I'm sorry to be a pain.
That's okay,
Can you
you're
give
fine.
us the distance for the 4 monitoring locations again, please?
Monitoring location 1, 200 feet
Okay.
approximately, and that depends on where you're measuring from the track.
Yeah.
We normally are measuring from the outside, so the closest point to the noise monitor. Monitoring location 2, 1,572 feet. Monitoring location 3, 1,937. Monitoring location 4, 300. And these are all approximates taken
Okay.
off of Google Earth.
Okay. But we don't know for sure if any homes are closer. I mean, probably not any closer than 200 feet, I would guess. But,
Correct.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay.
Any other witnesses?
No other witnesses.
Okay. Let's move to public comment.
Okay, we'll go at this point now to public comment. Thank you very much for.
Do I need to do anything
Your
to
time.
just pull this out?
We'll go to public comment. If you'd like to speak, please line up or come to the podium or make a nice line over there if you'd like to speak on the record. Go ahead.
Ms. Sheridan, just for the record, I'd like to make an objection as to this is a legal matter that determines whether my client is permitted by right under the ordinance. That is purely a legal conclusion for the board. It is my opinion that public comment would be irrelevant to that legal issue before the board, so I would like to make that objection for the record.
I believe the Sunshine Act requires there be public comment.
We're going to allow public comment. We are going to ask that to the extent individuals are making public comment, it is germane to the issue at hand.
Yeah, again, one more caveat here. We're asking it to be limited to Cecil Township residents, and you'll be limited to 3 minutes. Try to keep in mind that we're trying to have input related to whether or not the motocross facility is aligned to our ordinance, and try to keep close to the point and quick as you can. Thank you. And please state your name and address for the record when you speak up when you stand at the microphone.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bob Mikulski. I'm a resident here 47 years of Cecil Township. What?
Please spell your last name.
I did. Oh, spell it. Mikulski.
Thank you.
I've been a resident here. I live on Glass Hill Road, right behind the old police station or the old township building that they're about ready to tear down. I also, my neighbors just sold approximately 60 acres that they're going to be putting in 54 homes, I believe, and 80 townhouses. Now, that's all done for profit, which there's nothing wrong with that. But the reason I'm here speaking this evening, I'm too old to run the motocross track anymore. But I have grandkids in that are in the community. My one grandson lives right across the street, and he's still not racing motocross, but he rides the quads. We go all over the place. And one of the points that they made is you've got to go an hour and a half or, 3 hours or, 5 hours away to do this. Now, all these new homes coming in, Chris Hoke should be here, and Scarmazzi, I guess they were going to be builders. They should be here because I would want to move in if I knew that a track like this was available. We need to do things that's good for our community, not always fight every time somebody wants to do something that's good for this is good for the kids. We all say we want these kids not to just watch TV and play on their iPhones, but we want them to go out and do something. Well, there's not, Google says that this is a outdoor recreation activity on the motocross track. And that's what Google says. So are we all saying Google's wrong? So I can understand why Mr. Fuchs didn't think he was doing anything wrong. And some of the board members, and I know our zoning officer, Liz Ross, her husband used to race motocross on the ATVs. Well, most of us in this community, we moved out here to Cecil because it's a It's a farm community. You can ride horses. You have the bike trail. We have the park. We have so many good things. But when somebody's trying to do something for our kids, you want to kick them in the, I can't say that word, but you want to put them down. It's like we have to do some, it has to be some special thing. The man, he's been in this community. He's done all kind of good things for this community. And again, I'm too old to do this, but I want to see something like this go through for our kids. It was just like the Montour Trail when it first went through. I wasn't happy because they stole 0.6 of an acre from me. I fought it in court and I lost because it was eminent domain or whatever. But I still didn't get anything for 0.6 of my acres, which is a half acre, which in today's value is about $100,000 in our township. And I got nothing for it. I'm okay. We're done with that. Everybody has to voice their opinion, and we're all going to be different. But to tell that these little kids, you saw some of these little kids in here, why would you tell them that, no, we don't want you to come in here and do something that's safe, that it's monitors, there's restrooms, and so far as the noise, I've lived behind the township for 47 years. Now, I know they're getting ready to tear it down, and I'm sure I won't have any dust, and I'm sure I'm not going to have any noise from that. But we all know the truth about it. We do the Fall Festival every year. Do you know how much noise comes from the Fall Festival every year? And I go down and I try to help out every year setting up the vendors and whatnot. But it's part of life today. So, and you're going to say there's fumes from some dirt bikes? You gotta
Understood.
be kidding me. This is ridiculous. My time's up. Thank you for your time.
Hi there. If you could just state your name and if it's difficult, spell it for the
My
stenographer.
name's
She'd be happy.
Michelle Carmen Kovalowski, Kovalowsky. I have lived here my entire life. My grandson's a fifth generation on the same piece of land that my grandfather farmed, and we make exceptions all the time for development, housing plans, all these big things. You do nothing for the kids. Everybody complains there's nothing for the kids to do. This is a perfect opportunity for something that's good, clean fun for these kids to do, that my son would do, my grandson would do, and I don't see why it's even a question that they should be allowed to do it. Mr. Fuchs has done nothing but try and help this community. He wanted to move the jail to preserve it. He's done all kind of things. He's doing things to try to help us here, not just to make money, build more houses and have more developments. And then people want us to change our ways that we've been for all these decades, change the size of our recreational fires and what we can do and when we can make noise and when we can burn, and we're always giving in. We have to pay for extra recycling pickups and garbage pickups against our will. Let us have something for a change. Let our kids have something that they can do. It's not that much noise. It's not going to be a bunch of traffic. It isn't going to hurt anybody.
Thank you.
My name is Thomas Forge, Foertsch. I lived in Cecil Township for as long as I can remember, approximately 16 years. And I've been riding quads for as long as I can remember, and I am Bob Mikulski's grandson, he mentioned earlier. And I believe that this thing is great because, one, the slate dumps that were brought up earlier, I remember passing by there every day and seeing kids up on there my age, younger, older, and there's no one out there. There's the police right down the road, but how are they going to get in there? It's all overgrown, it's all rocky, it's uneven. I personally believe that this motocross track is a great way for kids my age, kids younger, adults to be able to have somewhere to ride, to have some fun, and it's nearby. Like, there is nowhere around here other than this place to ride legally, not on private property, and not on property that you don't own. I just believe this is an amazing opportunity for people like me that like riding, whether it be quads, motocross, UTVs, ATVs, whatever it be, and I believe this should just stay and not be taken down. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Alex Calusi.
Can you spell your last name, please?
Alex Calusi, Colussy. I have things written down because I'm not great at public speaking. But I was trying to kind of listen, and you can't list every definition for an outdoor recreation. There's always going to be concerns from everyone. Anything new, half the time, everyone thinks is terrible. But it's always about giving something a chance. I'm not sure. There's always new people coming to an area. So if you Google things for outdoor activities for children, I'm here for our youth. That's all I care about. I have 2 boys. It gives me 5 things. 5 things in Cecil Township. I specifically put Cecil Township outdoor activities. It gave me Cecil Township Park, Montour Trail, Frolic at the Creek, Cannonsburg Lake, Meadowcroft, Rock Shelter, and Historic Village. How many kids really want to do a historic village? It's great, but it's not something that you can actively do repeatedly. I also Googled how many people live in Cecil Township, and as of July 1st, 2024, there's 15,118 people. So I guess my thing is, why let a handful of people ruin something for 14 to 15,000 people? It's things for our youth. If you, it's 2 days a weekend. It's something for them to do. They tell you, get off your tablet, get off the phone, get outside. On an article I read the other day, it said they should be outside for at least an hour. How are they going to be outside for at least an hour if they have nothing to do? It's something to get them interested in, and they will want to do it because they enjoy it. And it's something for a whole family to do. It's not just for your children to get them off your back and go do something and sit in a corner. It's something for them to enjoy, and it's something for a whole family to have fun. And it shouldn't come down to, I don't think it's fair to take an activity off the table for my child if I choose to take them and subject them to that activity that they want to do. I sign a waiver. They know the liability. I know the liability. I am taking them there, and if they want to go, then I should be able to have the right to take them there. It shouldn't be shut down because it's not an outdoor recreation. Whenever you specifically Google motocross, it says right on it, outdoor recreation. It's the definition of it. So how is that outside of its use is my complaint. Sorry, I'm really nervous.
You're okay.
If you look around, it's about our kids. You shouldn't be trying to take something away from our children. I know some of you on the board have children. We probably, I don't know. Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kelly Zadrozny, Zadrozny. My little guy wanted to come up here with me. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
I am actually up here as a mother. My boys, and speaking on behalf of my boys, Logan Zadrozny, who is 17, and Bowen, who is 9. My husband and my 2 boys ride up at the track. I also want to state that I live at 3819 Miller's Run Road, which my house, basically the backside of the track, is up over my hill. I have a pool. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't a fan when I first heard a motocross track was going to be put up there. I'm like, well, there goes my summers and my relaxing in my pool. But now that I have been living with this for the past few months and experiencing a lot of different things, I'm for it. 100% for it. My husband is a wonderful father to the 2 boys. He also rides up there. They've been a part of the track since it started to be built. I just want to touch on a few points with the noise. I'm going to be one of the people in the township that's going to hear that. I'm so close to it. Yes, I absolutely do hear the bikes when I'm out, not when I'm inside my house, but if I'm outside in my backyard, I hear the bikes. It does not bother me whatsoever. It is a couple days during the week, and everything else by far is more positive than hearing a few bikes. As far as the traffic, the oil rigs and everything else that goes past my house is much more noisy. I would have that complaint over the bikes. Dirt, I've never seen it. As far as the emergency services, I'd like to state that my 17-year-old was in an accident a couple years ago and had to be taken to Children's via ambulance, and he was in the middle of the woods. As a parent, and I believe as a parent of any other parents I speak on behalf of, would you rather your child be riding at a track with a whole bunch of other people, with family, friends around, versus your child out in the middle of the woods? Now, as a parent, you're going to say, you're letting your kid go out in the middle of the woods to ride, right? This bike has been everything to my 17-year-old. It's his life. It keeps him on track. It keeps his grades on track. It is nothing but positive. But if you ask me, I'd rather him be on that track around other people in a more secure and safe situation. I just want to end things by saying that I believe that the track encompasses friends, family, community, most of all our kids, and in my opinion, should be the top priority.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lisa Vincenti. That's Vincenty. At 28 Vincenti Road. And yes, it's spelled the same as the name because that was my grandparents' property. My dad was born on that property. He and my mom live on that property. They built that house over 50 years ago. I came home from the hospital to that property. Now, there have been a lot of changes over those 80 years. There have been. And yes, there's more noise on the highway than there used to be. But the motocross is very loud. It's very high-pitched. And yes, we can hear it. Am I saying from the sound survey that it's damaging to the ears? No, I'm saying it's nuisance. When you sit on your porch, you want to listen to that high-pitched whine for 6 hours on Saturday and Sunday, the days of the week when you're off work. No. Do my parents who are retired want to sit on the porch that they deserve to be able to enjoy because your hobby is ruining their home, their enjoyment of a summer
Please
weekend?
address the board with your comments.
If you had neighbors, if your neighbors had 50 lawnmowers running constantly from 10 to 4 p.m., would you be able to enjoy your outdoors? And I will say it's so loud that even inside the house, we can still hear it. It is still loud. You have to turn something on to drown it out. And so I don't think our home's value should be diminished by someone's hobby. And that's what I came to say. I think my parents deserve to enjoy their retirement at their home that they built.
Thank you.
I really just came up here to say that.
Sorry, real quick. We just need your name and your address for the record, please.
I just came up here to say that.
I'm sorry. I need you to state.
You're either going to hear them where they're allowed to be.
Stop it.
You need to state your name
where they're not
and
allowed
address.
to be.
Okay. You need to. Thank you for the entertainment. Next, please.
Jeff Chickus. CHICKIS. I grew up here. I'm the 4th generation. My son's the 5th generation. You guys are building all these townhomes and housing developments. The new toll road from here, that's not noise. I mean, there ain't nothing for these kids to do around here.
Thank you.
Hello, board. I am a U.S. taxpayer. I think you're all government leeches. You should step down. And this lady, she's an alien. Look at the way she looks.
Yeah. Thanks. All right. Is that it for public comment? Anyone else? I'm sorry. You're going to have to step up to the microphone. Yep.
My name is Madison Hambright. Last name Hambright.
What's your address, Madison?
3855 Millers Run Road.
Thank you.
I would like to say that, you know, with everyone coming to this track, it helps local businesses. They got to stop and get some food either on the way in, on the way out. That helps local businesses that are ran by local people. I believe that this is a good thing for the kids. It gives them a place to go and ride safely around other people who care. This is a family thing. Whether you're blood or not, this is a family sport. Everyone that rides will go out of their way to make sure that you're safe. If you need anything, if you break something on your bike, if you need a ride home because you have been injured at the track, because injuries do happen. It's a dangerous sport, but there are these things in place. Everything that needs to be done for a track to be ran the way it should be to keep everyone safe will be implicated. I think that I want to thank everyone here, first of all, before I walk away, for coming and showing support. This is a small, very small portion of people that are for this track. I think that you guys should take into consideration redefining outdoor recreation. This is a very big industry. I've been in the motocross industry for 15 years. There's tracks across this country. There's going to be people that are against it, but there's more people that are for it. I apologize that this woman's parents can't enjoy their porch, but there is so many other people that instead of having to drive hours away, they can enjoy it locally. And I think for you guys to have this locally would look good for you guys. It would be beneficial for everyone that rides a dirt bike. Riding on the streets, that we don't want that. You don't want your police officers having to chase down dirt bikes on the road because they don't have anywhere to go and ride. So the Muse dumps, like all of these places that aren't sanctioned for dirt bikes, could be hurt in the woods if you go ride by yourself because you don't have anywhere else to ride. And now you're using resources to go find out where they're at, get them help, and this is somewhere that they can go. It's supervised. Cooper does a very good job at making sure everyone's safe. If there is too many people, he says, hey, we're going to break this down. We'll have other people, watching to say, hey, okay, there's more talented people out there, and we don't want the less talented people to get hurt.
Understood.
So Mr. Donald Fuchs is a very good man. He's done a lot for this community. And this is another thing that he's trying to do for this community that is going to be beneficial to everyone that loves to ride their dirt bikes of all ages, kids, teenagers, adults. There's 60-year-old guys, there's women who ride dirt bikes. Everybody who loves to ride their dirt bike would love to have this place to do that.
I appreciate it.
That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pat Phillips, and I live smack on the border of Cecil, Chartiers, and Canonsburg. What you have in large property owners running from that area all the way until you hit Route 50, you have large properties owned by names like Falcone, Lucian, Falcone again, the old Fell area, and Farmer Wayne, I don't know his last name. Over many, many years, all I see are kids driving across Route 980, many times unsupervised, trespassing on other people's property. Why not provide them with an area to be safe, an area to socialize with other kids? We're too buried in our heads in phones now. Give them the opportunity to socialize. It's vital. We're losing that. I know it's a motorcycle. Is there a risk? There's a risk in everything, but there's also a risk driving across Route 980. When Cecil police, you have to chase a kid on a dirt bike. You think they're going to catch him? Probably not. So you're giving kids an opportunity to gain social skills that we're losing every single day. So think about that. This isn't just about one thing. It's not just about a little bit of noise. By the way, 65 decibels, not that bad. It's kind of where we're at right now, the way I'm talking. So take that into consideration. It's about kids. It's about socializing. It's about saving other people's property that they don't want to be trespassed upon. So there's a lot of common sense that comes into play here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to recess to a brief executive session, so we'll be back in a little bit. And if you guys want to come up and talk about the merits of house parties later, you can do that too.
Now we're like. I know.
We're gonna ask for some chill in the audience here. Now, you could take that part of it outside, but we're gonna reconvene here.
Yeah, we did.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we did receive a letter in writing that was requested to be read into the record tonight. So this is dated August 18th, 2025. It says, I am writing to, honestly, you're gonna have to leave the meeting room if you're gonna continue to disrupt the proceedings. I am writing to complain about the noise from the dirt track on the Fuchs property. The noise is, what does that say?
Annoying, I think.
And I'm going to say annoying. 7 days a week from 9 a.m. until dark in the evening. I live near Cecil Park, and the noise from the dirt track is louder than the cheering people at the baseball games in the park. I am not in favor of having a dirt track that produces the amount of noise that the Fuchs track produces. It needs to be in another area away from residents and not on top of a hill where the sound carries farther. John Kaufman, 39 Grange Road, McDonald, PA 15057. Okay. So before we ask for a motion, I'm going to make a comment. There are still several questions that need to be answered, and we believe that the ordinance has provided a manner by which to address this through the process of special exception. Based on our interpretation of the ordinance, an outdoor recreational facility does not include motorsports. So there is another avenue to go through the process of getting this into compliance, and our opinion is that that would be to follow the process of applying for special exception.
Chris.
Okay, so let's have a motion.
Okay, I move that we deny the appeal because this use is a comparable use that is not specifically listed in the zoning ordinance that requires a special exception approval under section 240-28D of E Code. I also am requesting that that we write a letter to the Board of Supervisors asking that this be addressed more directly in the ordinance so that we avoid further confusion or issues on this particular matter. So with that, I'll ask a motion for adjournment.
We need a
you
second. We need a second to.
Oh, sorry. A second on
to
my-
your
my
motion
motion.
to deny the appeal.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'll motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Fun times.
Thanks for everything.
Congrats. Yeah.
There's people on YouTube and stuff that do that stuff at public meetings to like cause chaos and everything. I'll have it. Yeah. Look up public meetings supporting house partying in Hollywood. There's these people that these guys that go up there and they're like, I support partying in houses in Hollywood Hills, and they like
Yeah,
totally
it's trying
ruin
to.
the meeting
They were
inside,
filming
right?
it, so.
Oh yeah, they definitely.
Yeah.
But hey, we're just trying to. I got to do this free job that I barely get paid for or anything. Like $80 I get to be here. It's
Right.
great. I'm sorry, I'm not a township resident anymore. Yeah. Right, and that's what I appreciate you guys. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like, I feel like we work for all the residents. Sorry.
It's a process,
Guardrails in places. Something terrible that happened, and then other people have a lot of things that and I think it's always I hope it makes sense.
Did I just hear you retired officially?
Yeah, I'm no longer sold our business. And
Well, that's awesome.
48 years of this. Now I got more time.
What are you going to do with all this time?
Probably hit a few more golf balls.
Okay.
Play a little pickleball. Watch my grandkids.
How old are they?
Four boys, 10 and 7. Two 10s, two 7s. But I do like these kind of cases.
Yeah.
Oh, you know about lots of guardrails.
So,